Bind is the most unique map in Valorant, completely foregoing a traditional mid area like you would see in other two-site maps, and instead having 2 lanes to each site and freaking teleporters that take you from one side of the map to the other in an instant. This provides a completely unique experience in Valorant, and whether you're new to the game or much more experienced, there's still things that you need to know to make sure that you can secure a victory in your Premier games. Keep watching to learn lineups, defaults, execs, positioning on site, and how to abuse those teleporter rotates. This is your Bind Premier Playbook. G'day, I'm STACKMANDU, and this is my video guide portion of my Bind Premier Playbook. You can also find the link to the playbook we're looking at here in my Discord, which is linked below. And any lineups for this Bind Premier Playbook, you'll be able to find in my shorts and on my TikTok, as well as linked in the playbook itself. So let's get into the video guide portion. I want to make this short and sharp and snappy and as efficient as it can be, so you don't have to sit around watching this for an hour and you're able to flick between it nice and quickly. So let's start with the agent composition. What you're going to see a lot of on Bind, and what I highly recommend, is playing Raze, Skye, Brim, and Viper. There's the core 4 agents on Bind. A lot of comps revolve around them. The 5th slot is a little bit more open. I've chosen to go with Chamber for this playbook because I think it's really simple to play, and the purposes for these guides are to make it as simple as possible, and any Premier team from open to contender could pick up this playbook and use it and gain value from it. The core principles that I use in these playbooks will always be fundamentally solid, and if you're a more experienced player competing in a higher division, you can use your own ideas, your own twists. You make some changes here and there to suit your own playstyle. If you're competing from open to advanced, this is going to provide a really solid structure and some really good ideas for you to play around with. Because of Bind's unique nature with no mid and the teleporters, I think it's important to have some general defensive protocols as a starting point for your defense. This is a way to get your team on the same page about the strategies that you're employing. So I've got 5 here. You can add your own on top of this, including what I think is really important, communication protocols that you can develop. These are really individual to each team, but one thing that every team should have is an understanding of what happens when freeze is called. If you're new to protocols, just think of them like if-then statements. If this is true, then do this. Our first one is if they have no passive flank watch in the form of like Cypher, Killjoy, or a chamber trip, in the early half, the first few rounds of your defensive half, if you want to push for flanks, you should push the extremities first and wide flank. If they start adapting to this later in the half, in the mid rounds or the late rounds of the half, then you can start pressuring those mid holes as well. So why do we want to do this? So why do I say this? Well, let's imagine that the attackers are going B and they have Viper in their 5th slot as that anchor. This is a situation. You're on defense. Imagine the attackers are going B, and Viper has the role of watching the flank, making sure that no one gets fast flank. Viper doesn't have the utility like Cypher or Killjoy to be able to just chuck a trip here and be done with it. You know, Chamber can do something like putting a trip here and then going and playing over this side and walking up showers. But Viper can't do that. Viper has to hold this because it takes forever to go down this way if you're an attacker. So generally, if you wanted to fast flank, which is the biggest threat to them in that early round, you're going to go down this way. So Viper is going to be holding here or holding here. Here, she has to cross to be able to rotate. This is the safest, most comfortable position for Viper to hold the flank on because she can fast rotate to group with the team if she needs to as well. And because of this, it's really risky for her to push up showers. Not only is this just a risky fight in general, 1v1, it opens up the door for you or your Raze to just walk up here completely unannounced because Viper's holding this. So this is a huge threat that completely can win a round, right? If Viper's over here. So if you find a Viper lurking over here, you can beat her to this rotate and look to come over here if there's lots of noise B, right? Knowing that the Viper is most likely going to be here, and if she's not, it's punishable. You can walk out here and get a lot of information. You can also deny quick TPs because you have control of this area. You can fast flank around here if they end up coming back in towards A through market. Gives you a lot of options, a lot of info, and a lot of control. The same thing can be applied to B long. You can walk down here. You can get all of this info, this deep line down fountain. You don't have to commit to the flank if you get this deep line. Just holding this is enough, especially out here because you can, whoop, in an instant, get back towards A site. They are rushing a lot. You can push those short lanes for that fast rotate and make sure you dump that util on the site that they are hitting. It's really hard to get through sites on bind, and if you util trade out, they're going to be left with not as much util to hit sites, and you're going to be in a really good position to hold those sites once all that util is down. If they are playing slow and defaults, be very wary of flanking. You don't need to flank on bind. It can be very strong in the right circumstances, but all you need to do is just keep a slow, steady stream of information. Sky can just cycle that flash outside of B down to Fountain. Chamber will be on a deep line, which is only just outside of sight, but gets all the way down towards like effectively what is attacker's spawn. But you've got the boom bot to use there as well. So you've got options to just slowly, steadily get that stream of information. Okay, this is a big one. Never full rotate through spawn. Always keep one person on the weak side until spike is planted. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've lost a ranked game because everyone just rotated all the way through spawn to try and get to site. The attackers realize, oh my God, it's stacked here. We're just going to 4-man hit teleporter and go onto an empty site. And it's just then really hard to retake from those situations. Retaking becomes a lot easier if you just hold some type of the site, and we're going to get into that in a second. And because you can use the TPs to get onto site as quickly as like instantaneously from the other side of the map, it's always just worth holding for that late lurker or that extra information because you're not losing time on rotates. You can regroup with your team instantaneously. And because of this, don't be hasty to retake site. Wait for the spike is planted, contain the attackers as much as you can, and try and maintain control of extremity points of site. So elbow on B, or long, or hookah, or lamps, or showers. Just try and hold those pockets of space and plant your roots in there. Hold that space as a duo, and wait for your teammates to come because they can rotate really, really fast on bind. The other thing that's very unique to bind is not only the 2 lanes to each site, but the way that they approach site. On every other 2-map site in Valorant, the second lane comes up through mid and heads towards a deeper part of the site. But all of the lanes on bind approach the front entrance to site, or like the south side here. And what that means is that playing very forward on site on bind is really, really strong. And what you'll see a lot of teams do in pro play is even play forward of site and try and control one of those lanes only, which allows for this kind of setup like here. So Viper and Sky on defense, they've played in garden and they've flashed out and killed the 2 coming up A long. They've completely disregarded hookah, and that's okay. They're allowed to have hookah and get onto site, because what we're going to do on that retake is Brim's going to smoke off hookah, so it's becomes really devalued in the place that they're holding. And then we're able to create this crunch on site where Brim and Raze come in through back site. Maybe they push through to elbows or something different depending on the situation. But in general, then Sky and Viper can come back into site with Brim and Raze rather than trying to fight on site and fight the whole team flooding in from 2 different lanes at the front. What they're able to do is isolate a split kind of attack. And if there was 5 coming up B long, you can fall back into and try and retake hookah before they get in there, or fall back and hold this elbow, and the other rotators can come and flank instead. But creating this crunchable space is really the basic idea of what you want to do. So you can do this on A as well. Generally, it's a lot easier to isolate like this showers fight rather than the short fight. But if they come a lot through showers, which teams will do sometimes, pushing down here and you smoke off showers, but then you can also, you don't have to smoke like this or this or this. You can do this and create a fight into this space, or even into this space where you're able to fight with your flanking Sky or something like that and take control of this space. Then you can give yourself the option of flanking through, but then also if this comes through, it's really easy to retake lamps together, and then you can push this way into site. So there are your defensive protocols. That can be really fluid, and it can be easy to fake out your defenders and make use of those rotates. So I've put in some defaults and fakes here for you based on the defaults, where you can take things slow and try and push any of those flankers. But also from those defaults, you can go really fast into execs as well. So you can read the details of that in the playbook, as well as some set plays here with Viper's Pit, Brim ult, some raised stuff in there as well. And I've got pistol rounds for each side too. So let's get into the agent portion of the video, and I'll show you guys the key things that you need to be doing for your team on each of the agents that we have in this comp. We're going to start with Viper, and one of the first things that we're going to look at is this setup here. Now, this is an iconic setup for Viper on Bind. So where Viper really started to find her home as a second controller in Valorant, and it was due to this setup. So you're going to come to this little cactus here, and you're just going to throw it, and you want to try and catch the left edge of this box. So if I come over here, and so you can throw it just so it goes down this line, but the advantage of throwing it here means that you can actually walk up this side of the wall and punish anyone playing here, and also creep up here and looking for picks without being exposed completely up there, and gives you more options to work with. So when you're throwing the wall, that's what you want to be looking out for. There's a couple of different places to throw the accompanying orb. There'll be a shorts lineup going through all of those different places in one, but for now, we'll just throw this one. Now, what you're going to be using this setup for is twofold. You're going to want to try and lurk and create pressure into lamps. Early in the half, you want to be really aggressive with this. You want to show that you mean business, and if they don't respect this setup, if they don't do something to counter it, put a person here, use util, they will get punished because you're going to walk through and you're going to kill them, okay? You're going to flank B, whatever it is. Once they start adapting, once they start putting more and more numbers there, you can start, one, playing around with the different timings. So you can start going later and later. So they go, oh, Viper's just given up here. And you just throw in different rounds whenever you're flanking. Even if you are all the way down in Fountain, throwing mollies for sight, right? You're down here throwing mollies. You still want to be cycling that util. As long as this is going up and down, the enemies have to worry about it. The defenders have to do something about it. Whether it's just watching it and holding it, putting someone there, you're at least taking attention away from your team. And if they disrespect it, that's when you can punish them. One thing that you should be aware of is this wall here actually smokes off 3 whole lanes because it's a projectile and it goes into teleporter. So you can do fast teleporter crunches out of here to take showers without having to worry about getting shot in the back unless someone pushes through the smoke or you get spammed, obviously. But that can be a great play to set up for someone and make your teammates aware that they can push through showers there as well. This one way here, and mollying through the teleporter as well. Learn the length and of the lineups. You see the one that I threw has gone perfectly into the choke. You don't want it landing here and doing nothing. You want to try and get it in this kind of area too. The other one that you'll see in the playbook is this orb here. Now, this orb is very, very unusual. It serves a couple of different purposes. The first purpose is you can get a molly in here, a nade, whatever it is, Brim molly, Viper molly, and you can deny plant or kill planter. Also, just a very, very easy molly that you can throw. You've just aim like at this vent here. That's going to bounce back towards the whole plantable area here. So you can also then use this to flash back out of and get aggressive if you want to do that kind of play as well. If you've got Sky with you, you can play in the smoke. If the planter runs in, you can try and kill him that way. It also means if you're playing showers and you're getting pressured showers and from sight, you can pop this and retreat and get back. You know, you can get back to barrel here. You can play backside, wait for your team to come. So it's multifunctional and it's really, really, really strong. I highly recommend you using this. You can also molly just like this. Very, very simply. Yeah. Really, really nice orb. I recommend you play around with using this. Get a little bit of practice with it first before you jump straight into Premiere with it, because it is very different. If you are doing that orb as well, you need to make sure that Brimstone is smoking short for you. Similar to the orb, this provides a retake function with this wall where you can get back into sight. You can clear out this close box, and then with having this orb here as well, you can then drop the wall once you've got this space, pop up the orb, and start getting that defuse down. And the last thing that we're going to look at for Viper here is this molly, which has a specific use to land on top of B long through the little grate here and clear out any ops that are standing directly on this close line. Don't forget, all of the lineups will be posted as shorts and on my TikTok as well. So Chamber had to fight for and earn his spot. And the main functionality or reasoning that we're using Chamber is because you can do things like this. Because there's 2 lanes, Chamber has 1 trip for one and escapability for the other, where he can get onto this line. He can use his ult and take really good fights. Now, you might need to support him by getting him onto this line, but then you can absolutely just leave him alone. You can go stack towards B and leave Chamber here, and he can make sure that he's watching both lanes. And you can do this with every lane on each site. Both lanes on each site, he can hold short, and he's not exposed to showers, right? You can also change this up. If you start with strong sight, just imagine that TP's up here. You can hold this. Raze has taken showers control, created pressure, and then rotates off. You can then fall back here. Once the timing is right, once Raze is rotated off, 20 seconds after that, they might start pushing through. Nothing's happening short. You can drop back and you can hold this line, TP, and you still know that no one's short. Same thing on B. You can get the trip into hookah. To make sure this doesn't get smoked off. It's not really going to get smoked off in hookah here, but if anyone is being super sneaky, maybe they've got an omen, you can just put it in the front here, or, you can put it like here, just to make sure that it's harder to walk around it and smoke it off. You should be able to hear that kind of stuff though. Playing Chamber here. This is going to be a really popular area for you on Chamber to hold, because you can get this whole op line and you can hold this forever and ever and ever, and then still be able to rotate through the TP. Least commonly, you can take hookah as well. Obviously, you can trip garden just at the front there. Now, you can do this a couple of different ways. You can get your TP, into a safer position here and just hold this line. You're going to need support here to get out onto this line though. This is really, really hard to just swing, yeah? Unless you're going for an instant swing and TP no matter what. Yeah, you just go bang and you're taking that shot. But here, you can get out onto this line with the support. Maybe it's quiet, maybe it's not. And then you can get into this kind of deep line. Obviously, there's the threat here of someone walking up here. That's really, really uncommon for someone to sort of, be pressuring long and then coming back towards short without hearing any noise short. So then you can hold this really, really cheeky angle here. People aren't going to be ready for this fight. Away you go and you're out. And now you can still take this fight, and then you can come back, take this fight. You can just keep falling back with that op line. This guy has a very unique role on bind by being able to flash down here for info. Getting all the way down into fountain at the start of the round. You can play around with the timing of this as well. If teams start to hide from it, you can just send it 5 seconds later, making sure that they're just not catching up on you here. You can also dog this both ways. As an attacker, the dog up here allows you to clear everything. You can get all the way into garden, clear out garden as well. You can pop flash, punish anyone. Walking up long as an attacker is one of the most dangerous things that you can do. It's really, really, really dangerous, especially if they've got a breach, they've got flashes, whatever it is, you can be cooked very, very easily. You can get a cipher cam here. It's something you got to be aware of, even just this cross line. But as soon as this cipher cam sees you, stun, flash, whatever it is, GG, you've got to be ready. So if you're walking up long as an attacker, make sure you've got someone playing anti-flash. If you don't know what anti-flash is, it's a place where you can't be flashed. So generally looking at a wall, you can also do stuff like turn around, do it that way. Don't ever just walk up solo anti-flash. I mean, you can make a big brain read that way, but you've got someone holding the wider angle. So they'll take first contact, and then you're on the narrower angle, playing anti-flash, ready to swing, yeah? Whichever way it is. The great thing that Sky can do as well is clear out showers from here, which is crazy value. Yeah, being able to flash, even just flash for the players outside of showers, so they can make plays. So you can flash chambers over on showers. You can flash him onto that line from here. It's just crazy. And then you've got the seekers as well. Best time to use them is when there's 3 players. That gives you guaranteed information about positions, but also just using them to help you execute. You can have them lead into site and find the players on site for you. Makes your util usage a lot more efficient as well. And even against like Raze and Viper and Brim, like there's a lot of chip damage that can be done. So the heal from Skye can provide a lot of value in a lot of rounds as well. Over the course of the game, that can be a few kills here or there that you survive that you wouldn't otherwise. Even just giving players the confidence to swing angles at 100 health rather than at 30 health. Things like that make a big difference over the course of the game. Raze is fantastically paired with Skye because she functions a little bit like a pseudo initiator as well. Skye has a lot of info gathering tools, and then Raze can be your initiator, like your KO or your breach, that's able to force them out of space, you know, with that molly, with that aftershock. You know, you can use the nade to get kills, as well as even the boombot forces people out of. This isn't just a scouting tool. They have to shoot and deal with this, gets them into an awkward fighting posture, and you can take fights. So it creates engagements for yourself as well as gathering info. And then even paint shells force people out of angles, or even as soon as they swing, you pop that, they lose their crosshair because they have to jump. And then, you know, you got entry onto site. You know, this could be a showstopper, like fly in, bang. You can even nade for yourself to help your entry, right? So you clear out this space back site, and then entry, they have to move. So while you're traversing in the air, they're traversing as well. They can't just like hold for you like behind here and be ready to shoot you out of the sky. You know, you can nade into all of these little pockets of space. There's so many of these like tight turny areas where Raze gets a lot of value, you know, boom botting into lamps, nade into lamps, even just nading over the back of truck can be really, really strong. You know, nading into bench from back here. You're using your abilities to clear out space where the enemies can plant themselves. So these are the kind of things that you need. And you just got to be comfortable double satcheling as well. Things like just being able to Skye flashes in, you're able to follow up straight away, you know, be better at it than I am. I'm not a Raze main. It's a very particular thing. But, you know, just getting up into these spots, create these weird angles, get up onto truck and do all this kind of weird shit. Like last, we have Brim. Now, Brim goes really, really nicely here with this comp, especially with the chamber on those extremities as well, because Brim has limited range. So he has to be towards the center of the map to be able to smoke across all the different lanes for his team. The thing that Brim provides is additional explosiveness as a controller. So you can stim, and because your smokes all come down at the same time, Raze and Skye can just burst out and do their thing. Yeah, you don't have to wait for one smoke, then the other. There's lots of wide open spaces in bind that you want to cut off all at the same time. So if Brim's in A short, he can smoke bath, he can smoke cubby, can even, if you're in a bind, Brim can smoke garden for you. So from short, you can smoke this off. Now, you see it's not a perfect smoke though. Why is it not a perfect smoke? If you're new to playing controller or you don't know much about it, this is a much better smoke for a defender. The reason why is it's flush with the door here. And so anyone coming out is all coming out at that same line. Whereas if you smoke like this, you create opportunities for attackers to isolate angles. See, all of the players over here that could be holding this door can't hold. I'm able to get out and isolate all those angles. There's the last little thing. Another sort of unique thing about Bind is the ability for the op and the judge to work in tandem. It's not going to be a bad strat for you to commonly purchase the op and the judge with 3 rifles. Yeah, so you can play the judge in all of these lanes. This is a little tight chokehold that's really good. In hookah, the judge can be absolutely deadly. And 4 of the 5 agents that we have on the comp are really good with judges. Brim and Viper are able to play in their cloudy smokes and with mollies, with judges, increasing their stall potential. Raze just being able to fly in with her satchels and play with that judge. There's a sick play at Champs where Marco actually held on this side of the TP. Bang, 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 bang. If he needs to, he can get out as well. It's like a really uncommonly checked angle. So I recommend trying that one out. And then Chamber even, you can even smoke this off. Chamber can chuck his TP here and then get up close with a judge and then still be able to TP out. It's really only Sky who wants to stick to the rifle just because she's got util in hand so much of the time and wanting to flash out for her teammates. She wants to have a versatile gun rather than being restricted to certain positions or timings, that she has to hold. But that's it for the video guide. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I hope it has been valuable to you. Please let me know if you use it in your Premiere games and how you go. You can join the Discord community to share that with me and the other players that we have playing Premiere. And by doing that, you also get access to the playbook itself. So you can read all of the details in there for yourself, which weren't all included in this video, and share that with your friends or your team. Also, don't forget to check out the lineups. All the lineups will be posted as YouTube shorts and on my TikTok channel. So please, if you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe to that. Follow me on TikTok as well as Twitch and join the Discord server. And if you have any questions about Bind or the Playbook or other maps in general, please ask me in the comments below. And that's it. I'm out. Chef's kiss.